I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell politicians to give up the rooms. Tell silent voters to stand up to the booth.
God, it's me. Can you hear my plea? Feeling like I'm lost in this world, can't you see? Demons creeping in, trying to take control of me. But I'm just trying to find the light, trying to break free. I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. But why you keep forgetting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feeling like I'm on a leash. Can't find no peace, find no peace. Living in hell, can't you hear my plea? I'm suffocating, can't you see? Why you let these false prophets roam free? While the well-run suffer, can't you see? I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Why you keep targeting me? What did I do? Trying to have a convo, but you starting to preach. Feel like I'm on a leash, can't find no peace.
Hardest battles, strongest soldiers, greatest burden, broadest shoulders, pushing up just like these boulders. See conflict like it's water, so this mercy, take my chalice, seeking grace through all this malice. All of these salty motherfuckers could give up.
Politics and sinners, they all the same. Got me stuck in this endless game, but I won't give up, won't play the role. Gotta do what's best
for my soul.
I'm not perfect, God, neither are you. Tell these salty motherfuckers to tell the truth. Tell these politicians to give up the room. Tell silent voters to stand up to the move. Living wild but truthfully free, God keep on watching over me. Take my pleas and keep the receipts. I just want all of humanity to be free. And clean the seas and stop the greed.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Man, I got some shit for y'all today. I'm gonna really get into it. I really want to talk about a lot. We got an economic boycott today that is supposedly called. You know what it is. There's so much other shit we got to get in today, right? But we got a lineup that'll make your blood boil. But more importantly, we need to talk about what we can do about it. We're diving deep into a shocking investigation rocking a Twin City school, a growing boycott movement that could shake the system, racial injustice in Red Wing, Minnesota, and one of the big fraud cases, the biggest fraud cases in Minnesota history. But before we get into all that this morning, we're going to get into Don Tripp, Ultimatum, independent music, and right after that, we'll be right back.
Either love me or leave me alone. Either love me or leave me alone. I thought I found something I could call my own. Turns out you've been keeping secrets all along. Look like I was better off all on my own. Thought I found me something special, I was wrong. Adding to the damage just by holding on. It might be time to pack it up and move along. Nothing lasts forever, forever's too long. They said our love would never last, I wish we proved them wrong. Either love me or leave me alone. I'm growing tired of sticking my heart where it doesn't belong. One day you here, next day you not, this shit so off and on. If the heart's a house for love, your shit's a mobile home. Tired of chasing you like a puppet does a moving car. You can't know how good it feels to win until you lose it all. I stand on the line, what's on my mind before I shoot the ball. Will you still love me if I don't become a superstar? Keep my head high, hoping this time I find a shooting star. I wish we found a better way to bond before we grew apart. Losing sight of where we headed, all sense of direction lost. Losing sight of where we headed, too focused on where we are. Love me or leave me alone, and keeping on. I hope you get the message loud and clear like we on speakerphone. You don't know how much you miss somebody till you sleep alone. How the fuck I'm supposed to be Fresh Prince without my knee alone? You ain't here to stay then walk away, but please don't leave me on. Love me or leave me alone. Don't leave me alone. You keep playing games, I just can't seem to catch a lead at all. This shit way too tough, like what the fuck you got this defense on? There's a reason I don't play 2K on Hall of Fame, cause then it gets so difficult, I can't enjoy the game. I hope you get the message in the reference I just made. I hope you get the message and it doesn't go in vain. I thought I found something I could call my own. Turns out you've been keeping secrets all along. Look like I was better off all on my own. Thought I found me something special, I guess I was wrong. Adding to the damage just by holding on. It might be time to pack it up and move along. Nothing lasts forever, forever's too long. They said our love would never last, I wish we proved them wrong. Either love me or leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Either love me or leave me alone. Leave me alone. Either love me or leave me alone. Either love me or leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Please don't leave me alone.
Man, that was Don Tripp, Ultimatum. And, you know, today is the economic boycott, whatever, you know, don't spend $1. So I really wanted to talk about, you know, we're talking about this economic boycott. I want to go back into the boycott of the bus, Montgomery, right? I want to take it back. I want to take y'all back. You know, we go back through history, right? So I want to take you, this is a crash course. I really thought what could be the most educational, what could be the most informative. And this video, I thought really broke it down and into pieces and really would show the effect, because I also want to talk about what versus one day versus if we did it how our ancestors did it, because that's what I want to say. There's nobody really speaking about the boycott in Montgomery. You know, there's not a lot of people speaking about that, especially what's going on today with the economic one. So I really want to show you the difference in my eyes, what the results could be and what they should be.
Clint Smith, and this is Crash Course Black American History. The Montgomery bus boycott, which took place from December 5th, 1955 to December 20th, 1956, was one of the most successful examples of mass nonviolent resistance in U.S. history. This boycott is regarded as being the first large-scale U.S. demonstration against segregation with an estimated 40,000 participants. It came on the heels of Brown v. Board of Education in 1954, which deemed separate but equal a violation of the 14th Amendment and therefore unconstitutional. But Brown v. Board only integrated public schools in the United States. Segregation continued to run rampant in all other areas of society, including department stores, movie theaters, restaurants, and public transportation. As historian Jean Theo Harris put it, the arbitrariness of segregation, the power and place it granted white people, was perhaps nowhere more evident than on the bus. Let's start the show. Before the boycott, transportation laws in Montgomery directly upheld white supremacy. The Montgomery City Code mandated that black and white people were required to sit in separate sections on public transportation. Furthermore, bus drivers were legally allowed to arrest passengers who violated the mandate, and many of the drivers carried guns. Black patrons were assaulted, abused, arrested, ejected, and sometimes even killed for refusing to give up their seats, talking back, or even asking questions. Rosa Parks, whose refusal to give up her seat was the catalyst for the Montgomery bus boycott, was but one of a long line of Black Americans who resisted the inequality of our public transportation system. For example, in Montgomery, 11 years before the boycott, in 1944, a woman named Viola White was beaten and arrested for refusing to give up her seat. Thurgood Marshall recounted one case of two members of the Women's Army Corps in 1945, and he described it as one of the worst cases he had ever seen. The two women in uniform refused to give up their seats and pointed out to the driver that there were seats available and they shouldn't have to move. But the driver then physically and verbally assaulted the women. In 1950, authorities took it a step further in the case of a man named Hillard Brooks. Black passengers were supposed to pay at the front of the bus, then exit the bus and board from the back straight into the colored section. And sometimes, after black people paid and got off to go to the back, bus drivers would drive off before passengers could even make it to the back door. A World War II veteran, Brooks refused to exit after paying his money. When the police arrived, Officer M.E. Mills beat Brooks with a club, then shot and killed him as he tried to escape. Episodes of violence and humiliation like these were pervasive amongst Black Americans. And because many Black people did not own their own cars, many felt like they had nowhere else to turn. But sometimes there's only so much that a person can take. And talks of a bus boycott danced around barbershops, cookouts, and churches. Then, in 1953, the Women's Political Council, or WPC, collected a formal list of around 30 complaints of abuse on Montgomery buses in an effort to petition the mayor. The WPC was a league of about 300 Black women in Montgomery, founded in 1946 to develop strategies to combat community challenges in the face of Jim Crow laws. And in 1954, under the leadership of President Joanne Robinson, the WPC wrote a letter to the mayor warning him that if the violence did not stop, Black bus passengers would boycott. In the years before the boycott, Robinson worked arduously with members of the WPC to create a plan. They strategized on how to notify the city's Black population if and when the time came. They didn't know when it would come, but they knew they needed to be ready when it did. The December 1st arrest of Parks provided the perfect opportunity. As soon as word of the arrest reached Robinson, she knew that it was time to go to work.
She knew it was time to go to work. My bad.
Let's go to the thought bubble. It was a dark and stormy night. Just kidding. It was a normal, very typical Thursday evening as Rosa Parks boarded the bus home from work for her usual 15-minute commute. As always, she boarded in the colored section and sat in her designated area. Then, the whites-only section began to fill up. When there were no more seats available, the driver instructed the 4 Black people who took up the next 2 rows, including Parks, to get up so that a white man could have their seat. Everyone got up, except her. See, this is how it usually worked. About 10 front seats were always reserved for white people, and then 10 back seats were reserved for Black people. The middle section wasn't reserved for either, but white people had priority. So if more white people got on the bus and all the middle seats were filled, then Black people in the middle seats would have to get up and stand. Contrary to the way the story is often told, Rosa Parks was not asked directly to give up her seat for a white passenger. Instead, her entire row was cleared so that one white passenger could sit down. Parks thought about the racial injustices her family faced and about the tragic murder of Emmett Till just 1 year earlier. And she decided that she had had enough. She later wrote in her autobiography, My Story, quote, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that isn't true. The only tired I was tired of giving in." Thanks, Thought Bubble. After Parks was arrested and word spread, Joanne Robinson and the WPC immediately went to work. Partnering with community leaders had proved ineffective in the past, so they decided to call a one-day boycott by themselves. Instead of going home that night, Robinson went to work at Alabama State, where she taught English. She stayed there all night using the mimeograph machine to make leaflets announcing the boycott. Roughly 20 women then assembled to deliver them. And over the next 4 days, they distributed tens of thousands of leaflets through as many salons, barbershops, bars, and places of work that they could. Robinson was determined to get this show on the road, because like many other community members, she felt like Parks' arrest was a moment where the boycott could finally take hold. But here, we also have to stop and ask ourselves why Rosa Parks became the person that many civil rights leaders wanted to rally around. I mean, she wasn't the first. That same year, 2 other women in Montgomery had already been arrested after refusing to give up their bus seats. One of those people was Claudette Colvin, detained in March of 1955, who was a 15-year-old high school student at the time of her arrest. Even though her arrest happened before Parks, many believe that E.D. Nixon and other civil rights leaders did not feel compelled to publicize her arrest because she was young, poor, and dark-skinned. Furthermore, after the arrest, she got pregnant. And with that, any chance she had at becoming the public face of the boycott was gone. But Rosa Parks, these leaders believed, had the right background and the right look. And her history of activism with the NAACP, that helped too. She fit the profile of the type of person the civil rights movement wanted as its face. Born Rosa McCauley in 1913 and raised on her grandparents' farm in Alabama, Parks had to walk to school because at the time, Jim Crow laws prevented her from riding the school bus. Initially aspiring to be a nurse, Parks had to drop out of school in the 11th grade to take care of her ill grandmother. It wasn't until she married Raymond Parks in 1932 that she was ultimately able to go back and finish school. And with Raymond, she also began a life of activism. Parks eventually came to work for the NAACP and was appointed secretary in Montgomery. Decades of work in activist circles had given Parks all the connections she needed for the community to come together at the time of her arrest and agree that she was the person and this was the moment. At first, the WPC held a one-day boycott and it was a success. Feeling the momentum, they decided to keep it going. Those with cars carpooled and people contributed to what was virtually a 1950s Uber system without the surge pricing. Those who walked rotated in groups so that no one had to walk alone and be subjected to violence. It was a community effort, and the community was all in. Local leaders elected a young 26-year-old preacher named Martin Luther King Jr. to serve as the public face of the movement. With King as its president, they established the Montgomery Improvement Association, or MIA, to oversee the organization and maintain the boycott. Joanne Robinson, from the Women's Political Council, chose not to take an official position within the MIA, but she was part of the executive board and edited the weekly newsletter. Together, the WPC and the MIA created and maintained a lean, mean boycotting machine. And one of the main reasons the boycott was successful is that Black Americans made up most of the passengers on the bus. 75%, in fact. And without Black riders or Black dollars, the city suffered financially. On June 5, 1956, a Montgomery federal court ruled bus segregation a violation of the 14th Amendment. The town still tried to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, but it upheld the lower court's decision on December 20th, 1956. And on December 21st, 1956, the buses were integrated and the boycott came to an end, lasting for a total of 381 days. This movement was the culmination of a long struggle against discrimination in the public sphere. It also served as a gateway to the extensive activism of the civil rights movement. But as successful as this boycott was, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Like many Black Americans who have stood up for equality at any point in time, boycotters faced violence and intimidation tactics from surrounding white community. Boycotters faced the threat of losing their jobs, having to walk to work increased their chances of being late, and some faced heckling and torment from white citizens. Others had even more trying experiences. Dr. King and E.D. Nixon's homes were 56. In February of that year, were arrested under old ordinance designed to prevent people from boycotting. King was tried and made to pay a $500 fine and $500 in court fees. By December, the KKK had taken to burning crosses in the yards of protesters and the bus yards. This type of violence would become characteristic of the civil rights movement. Still, bus boycotts set a new precedent for nonviolent civil disobedience dedicated to upending Jim Crow. And as we'll soon see, these activists were only just getting started. Thanks for watching.
There was a lot that was going on, and I wanted to primarily speak about this boycott today, the economic, because, like, honestly, in my eyes, right, I don't feel like we're unified. I see when I look on Facebook about the comments, or when I look at, posts, and then I look out through history, I really do wonder of, how is the economic blackout going to help us? Because are we going against corporate America, or is this against the United States of America and their policies? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are we trying to make suffer? Because there, in the Montgomery bus boycott, they lost money. That went almost on for a whole year, and we don't have that drive. That anything that doesn't make money, they shut down. They shut down quick. I remember, and a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but we did a Locks for Love event during Derek Chauvin's trial, and there was people took turns being chained up to the fence, downtown. We were down there, for a almost a whole week. I was arrested a few times. There's plenty of video. It was just wild, but I understand it now. Of like, everybody was, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of people were being detrimental. That was a crazy time, and a lot of people honestly don't want to talk about. And there was a lot that went on. And I remember it very vividly. I remember it just like it was yesterday. And in my eyes, it's like every time that you feel like you need to do something, there's somebody there always to stop you what you're doing. They silence you, or they do numerous things, because and I'm not trying to be just talk all about me, because I'm sure there's thousands of stories out here. Just like James Wren, like Philip Vance, Timothy Magruder, and say a prayer today for Marvin Haynes. He's got to bury his mom. So say, take a minute and be thankful that there's people here alive that we can still kiss on, we can still hug, we can still don't take that for granted. Don't take that, that it's supposed to be there, because it all can be taken away. And that's what I've honestly learned is, that's why I say I don't even know what I am anymore. I know that how I was raised with certain values as a kid. I was raised to know the difference of right and wrong. What a lot of people don't know is that the choices, just because that way of life may not have been for you, your choices were probably different too. You had that choice to that decision to, I don't have to do that because I got people that are going to take care of me. Well, there's people out here that don't. So they have a choice to either live or go ask for help and die, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It's like either way, it's a fucked up choice. Especially if your back is against the wall and there's no way out. And honestly, I see that, looking at the city. I look at the activists. People figured out they couldn't beat the system because you had too many people that they want to be part of something. They want to be, instead of doing the research. And that's why, like, I was listening to that Data Republican. She had a space last night. And it's not all political, because it's both parties. They both benefit from this shit, and it's like the shit you got to go through to talk to these people like Esther or Jay Zong or Leah Finke. It's like, wow, the process you have to go to get to these legislators. Because I just had a couple of questions. You know, there was a bill that they talked about yesterday, and House File number 72, and it was 130 yays and then 3 no's. So the 3 no's I emailed, and then I got a back a blank ass. I'm sure they probably write it before the session. Is, are you a constituent? I get thousands of emails, and it's like, you really do whatever you can to make yourself have a roadblock between you. So if you can sit here and block out the constituents you don't want to hear from, you don't have to. You don't have to. And I don't understand that. that's what's wild to me, right? And because Esther's on a lot of committees. She's on the CMAH, and you know, some of these organizations get millions of dollars, and it's like, come on, man. Like, I don't understand it of how people that we elect are sometimes, you know, they say they do it for everybody. Well, how is that for everybody? You know, you go up there and you vote for your constituents, and that's why I'm starting to really see that there's a difference between Republicans and the rural areas, and then if you look at the conservatives in the Twin Cities and the urban areas, and there's such a difference, because we can sit here and talk to like a Walter or a John Justice, and they'll go out here and they'll talk about, you know, Black issues, but they won't talk about it in a way that will bring solutions. It brings, in my eyes, more problems because of the way that they talk. It's, in my eyes, it's inciting. It's very explosive. And we got to slow down and we have to know the difference between a Black person like Walter or Lisa, and then a Black person, because here's my thing of it is, where are the Black legislators on the Republican side from in Minnesota? They're in rural areas. They're in areas where they don't understand what is going on in North Minneapolis. You know, that I remember this one line from New Jack City, and he was telling Ice-T, I need a New Jack cop to go at a New Jack thug. A New Jack cop to go at a New Jack thug. That's it's wild. It's wild. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. It's wild. You know, and that's another thing that I sit here and do is, like, people, they want to feel a part of something, you know, because you can pinpoint, like, with the media. That's the one crazy thing, right? Yesterday, I showed you that little news article or whatever, and they quietly, like, mentioned Georgia Fort's husband with Feeding Our Future. So then you can understand why they call themselves Black press. They stay off of certain subjects. That's why Sahan Journal wasn't in on that. There was more. I will give it up, right? Because a lot of people don't want to thank Bill Glenn, because he really exposed it. And more is even coming out. You're seeing that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that later, but there's a lot of shit going on with Feeding Our Future, and we're worried about an economic blackout. These people aren't even trying to help us, because what are the tangibles? What are you trying to do with Target, or Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's, fast food, right? How is that going to help us educationally? How is that going to help us reduce gun violence? How is that going to give us opportunities to advance with our wealth gap? Because what y'all couldn't buy today, y'all bought yesterday, or you're going to buy tomorrow. So how does that help? Because we've all worked in the real estate. I'm not real estate, retail. I have, at least. And there's some days that, you know, that's the crazy part, because I remember being the manager at Casey's, right, when I was training. And we always, with our accounting, we always looked at the year before and a couple of years before that because it would give us an advance of what we should like when it came to our orders. Because a lot of people really didn't know what they were talking, what they were doing. Like, well, I'm not from this area, and if you go to, let's say, Stewartville and you're from, northern Minnesota, you don't understand that they got the Stewartville days and they got all the, during the summer, they got all the baseball stuff. You're not going to understand all that. So you already know what to order. So if you don't, right, I hate that nigga Turn Cruz. That what the one crazy thing, and I don't want to get off, but the crazy things that comes to me about Traherne is he was on Facebook Live. Somebody put a video. I shouldn't even say it was a live, but maybe it was. Nope, it was a live. He was on Facebook Live. They caught him smoking a glass dick, and nobody ever wants to talk about that. Nobody ever wants to talk about the fact that he was seen on Facebook Live smoking meth, crack, whatever it was, and we just act like it's normal after we know that BLM has gotten over $30 million in Minnesota for George Floyd. And yet we see people snorting cocaine off of booties. We see people twerking. What we don't see is the change in our communities. We don't see that prospering. That's what I don't understand is like, what do people stand for? Like, do you want to just be a part of something that feels good or that makes you feel good? Because what about the people out here that are suffering? Right? What about the people that are out here suffering? Because people don't care about that. We just want to feel good. Right? We just want to just feel good. I don't even understand. So I got something about the economic blackout that is going on. I guess it's been going on because Redwood
group, the People's Union,
actually just went up. Oh no, 13 more minutes. I'm gonna go on and see if they got something on Facebook Live or
according to
anything, but because I really want to get into, they have a walkout today, and I want to get into that. So, but this is planned for today is this walkout, and we're going to get into that a little bit.
New details about a nationwide economic blackout tomorrow against major U.S. retailers and credit card companies. Thanks for joining us at 4. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. Members of the People's Union USA are calling for a 24-hour no-spend day. The group is protesting what it calls corporate greed and the rollback of DEI programs. We get the latest now from CNN's Lee Waldman.
No spending for 24 hours. That's the message coming from consumer activist group The People's Union. According to its website, the so-called economic blackout is intended to show them who really holds the power. The effort is led by John Schwartz, a father from New York and founder of the People's Union. In his online bio, he writes, "If we stand together, we don't just demand change, we create it." This boycott comes as some are protesting retailers like Target for rolling back DEI programs.
They respond to one thing, money, dollars. And so many of us around the country said, well, let's flex our dollar power because that is the only thing they listen to.
Anna Tuckman, a professor of marketing at Northwestern University, has researched the impacts of company boycotts in the past. She says this one is unique because it doesn't target one specific company.
The call isn't to boycott a single brand or a single retail outlet, but it's rather calling for consumers to shut down their spending altogether.
Frustration over high prices at retailers is a driving factor for Friday's economic blackout, but Tuckman says she isn't sure what impact the spending boycott will have on the issue.
There are other factors that influences the prices that consumers face. So whether this boycott movement will have a measurable impact on prices consumers face going forward, my prediction is that it's unlikely that we will see a measurable impact.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
What kind of change will we see? That's the one crazy thing that people don't want to talk about is what is the change that we'll see? Because we can talk about not shopping at Walmart. We can talk about not shopping at Target. Most people don't shop at Target anyways, because, in where I'm from, we call that Target. because Target has always been seen as, before Walmart, we had Kmart. We had Kmart. You had your Target, you had Woolworths, you had, various other places before Target really became that, what it is now, because it wasn't back then. One thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this economic blackout is that the research does say that it takes 66 days to form a habit. This movement is aiming for 90 days, a full economic boycott to push against corporations that exploit workers, manipulate prices, and don't give a damn about keeping people in business, keeping them in business. And that's what we got to look at. What is this one day going to really affect Walmart or Target? Because you have such a population that doesn't think that we need a change, that there isn't police brutality. And they're our own skin folks. They're our own people that look like us. That's what's wild, is that it's people that look like us that stop a lot of this, because they go up there and tell people like our city councils, our mayors. Because I want to tell you one thing that a lot of people don't know, right? And I'm not speaking bad about them, and I'm just want to look at the connections, follow the money. So the city of Minneapolis passed the youth gun violence to YGVI, right? And one of the organizations, Youth Urban Conservatism, whatever they want to call them, right? One of their board members is the former police chief, Arredondo. And I'm just like, that's crazy. So you mean to go up there and tell me? But now I see why Jerry and L and all the big name players were screaming out about it, is because of the simple fact of, when you really looked into it, there was follow the money. That's all I can say, is always follow the money. Follow the money, because people lie. Data and stats won't. And we're such a world that is a society that is mathematic. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but everything that we do is a mathematic figuration, right? So, we always learn that 2 + 2 = 4. But everything that we do in life also there is, it comes down to percentages of success. There is percentages of being successful, completing something, getting your degree, what race you are, what gender. So there's always something that can stereotype us. There's always something that can put us into a whole nother category than what we're out here fighting for. Because that's what, honestly, in my eyes, is we've got so far away from fighting for Black lives that people go out here and fight for what's right, or not what's right, what's wrong. Just like what's going on in Red Wing this morning. You have a whole school doing a walkout, potentially a whole school doing a walkout. They can participate if they want to, doing a walkout. But what about Sam Norquist? You're walking out because they canceled Keith Ellison, who doesn't do anything for the Black community. There's other Black leaders in Red Wing that don't live there, or that still live there, that are way better than Keith Ellison. Because when Rashad Turner was asked to go speak there, they canceled that. And you know why? You know why? Because he was a part of that Mall of America protest. He was a part of BLM St. Paul. And see, Jamar Clark wasn't even that. That was during that time that Red Wing had asked Rashad to come out there and speak. But because some individuals looked up Rashad Turner's name and see that, oh, wait, that's BLM St. Paul. Why are they having him come up here and speak? Yeah. Go ask the former superintendent of Red Wing Public Schools. Ask him about Rashad Turner. Ask him about the other cancellations, because if somebody disagreed with their agenda, they shut that shit down. Just like the whole part of it, they didn't want to hear about their person out there stealing, their school board member out there stealing kleptomaniac shit. All she could do is steal. Oh, I gotta steal this. It looks good. I need a Wi-Fi popcorn maker because I deserve it. I'm white and it's right. It's like, wait, that's some crazy ass shit. The shit these people be going for, man. Because there's a story that is coming out of Minneapolis in the north side. A school is allowed to be sued, and it's a school that we've talked about before. It has to do with Harvest Best, and they're able to use kids to do porn with AI. And it's like, wait, hold up. What are we out here fighting for? If we can't even protect the kids at school, what are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? We want to take away phones, but don't want to make sure that they can read or do math or do basic skills to live in this society. But yet we do shit like this. We don't care about shit like this.
Federal investigators are urging parents in a Twin Cities school district to talk to their kids as they investigate a district employee.
That former employee is in custody tonight. Investigators say he took pictures of students and used AI to make them into porn. As Adam Duxter reports, they fear they don't know how many victims he had.
This school, one of several where William Haslick worked for years as an employee of ISD 622 for 3.5 years. Investigators say he watched over lunch and drop-off. In another district, he was a parapro and summer programs assistant. A federal indictment says during that time, he used that access to take pictures of kids in his care, then used AI to turn those photos into child pornography.
This is going to get worse. It's not an isolated incident.
Heather Barnhart, one of the nation's top forensic experts, says criminals are increasingly using AI for evil.
We can't put it away. It is now the cat's out of the bag. It's going to keep happening. It's a catch-up game. And unfortunately, they need to pick up their pace because AI is not slowing down.
Haslick now charged with possession of child porn, as well as production of obscene visual representation of child sex abuse. Investigators say it's likely he was distributing the photos he created and add they fear he has more victims than they're aware of.
I'm horrified for the children, for their families, for the communities.
State Senator Erin May Quaid already working on a bill that would hold AI companies accountable in these cases.
We shouldn't be living in a world where anybody can make a video or a picture of us naked just because we happen to be around them and they took a picture of us.
In the meantime, Barnhart says keep your kids' world small and ask yourself when you post a photo, who has access to it?
We just have to fight to have our kids protected and keep protecting the innocent and learn how to leverage technology.
Adam Duxter, WCCO News.
Haslick made his first appearance in federal court yesterday. He faces anywhere from 5 years to life.
That's crazy as hell. Crazy as hell that a grown adult in a school, a place where kids should be safe, used AI to exploit minors. This isn't just a scandal. This is a crisis. Because I will tell you like this, a lot of people don't want to talk about A.B. Wright, who was the teacher of the year. And yet and I don't get Minneapolis public schools, man. If somebody in Minneapolis, I'm taking my kid out. Even in Rochester, I'm taking them out because there's too much bullshit. There's so much, even in Red Wing, there's so much shit you got to go through to make it seem like, they'll make it seem like you fucking lying like a motherfucker all while you telling the truth to making sure that you don't get no kind of change, no kind of oh, I thought we already had an official language. That's fucking wild. Let me stop. I don't get that, but never mind. Yeah. So I'm gonna sit here and watch and see if something comes up in Red Wing, because they are supposed to have a walkout today. For Keith Ellison, which I don't agree with, right? Because we're sitting here, this is the one thing. You got people that are going behind, supporting a walkout, all while you have other employees of the school doing what they want to do, taking pictures and using them sexually. And just like Rochester, that's the crazy thing, right? People talking about boycott Walmart and all, Target and all that shit, right? Why ain't they telling y'all about one of the biggest sex child porn people worked right here in Rochester, Minnesota at Walmart, and what worked in the HR department. So far, they found 169 kids all over the world. I can't even just say America, because it's not. It's all over the world. And we allowed that. That's the crazy thing. I run some of these comments reading about dude, and it's like, wait. So y'all knew it. Trust your gut, man. Trust your gut. If you feeling something's off, man, 9 times out of 10, something is definitely off. Vibe is everything. Your gut is everything, and it should really, 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 really remain that way, because it's insane that people don't trust their guts, don't trust their first thoughts, their first no matter if it comes to attention or their first thought, they always second guess themselves. And I don't understand why we do that. Why we second guess ourselves? I don't know if that's just us feeling some type of way about ourselves, or if we feel like, oh, it's okay. No, man, there's a difference of right and wrong, and we need to stand on it. There shouldn't be a line that is so thinly crossed that you can look the other way when shit is happening. Because in my eyes, it's fucked up, right? So I want to talk about Highland Park before I talk about Red Wing. And so this federal complaint that was filed about taking a field trip for just students of color.
Tonight, a field trip for students of color in St. Paul Public Schools was canceled after a community member filed a federal civil rights complaint.
He says once he notified the school resolved that matter within hours. Fox 9's So-Young Kim joining us live from St. Paul. So-Young, you sat down with the person who filed that complaint.
Yeah, he tells me he saw information circulating on social media about a field trip planned for some students here at Highland Park Senior High School. He tells me his issue with it was who wasn't allowed to participate. He's a community member here in the Twin Cities, and he says he filed a federal complaint with the Office of Civil Rights Tuesday after seeing a parent's concern online. The incident in question was a field trip to a Minneapolis marketing agency that was supposed to take place today and was open to 11th and 12th graders who identify as students of color. Mark Perry, a retired university professor, says over the past 5 years or so, he's filed nearly 1,000 complaints for alleged discrimination at universities, colleges, and schools that receive federal funding all across the country. He says his complaints focus on alleged violations of Title IX, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex, and in this case, he alleges a violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin. He says within hours of contacting the school about this matter, he received a message back that the field trip had been canceled.
they maybe should have understood that this was a problem before, but at least once it was brought to their attention, that's the least I can expect then, is that then they will do the right thing and comply with federal civil rights laws, which in this case was canceling the program, or I guess it was maybe too late to open it up to all students.
A spokesperson for the school district says it partnered with a nonprofit programs like this one and sent a statement that reads, quote, St. Paul Public Schools values our partnerships with community organizations like the Brand Lab and the opportunities they provide for our students. The district remains committed to providing post-secondary and career-related opportunities for all of our students to pursue their passions. Perry tells me he will withdraw his complaint and is satisfied with this resolution.
Wow. That's insane. So I want to get it back into what I was talking about in Rochester, right? And I was talking about John Timmerman in Rochester appeared. This is the whole crazy thing, right? He's only got 13 cyber sex crime charges, but all these victims, right? So Timmerman faces the following charges: 3 counts of electronic communication relating to or describing sexual conduct with a child, 2 counts of possession of child pornography, 2 counts of possession of child pornography, minor under 14, 1 count of disseminating child pornography, minor under 14, 2 counts of use of a minor in a sexual or pornographic work, 2 counts of use of a minor in a sexual performance and pornographic work under the age of 14, and 1 count of child solicitation. Wow. He is held at Olmsted County Adult Detention Center, $150,000 bail with conditions, or $750,000 without conditions. That's low. I've seen people get way higher for dumber ass shit. Goofy. In October of 2024, Rochester police received cyber tips related to someone soliciting minors to produce child sexual abuse materials or child pornography. Rochester police realized there was also a 2022 and 2023 cyber tips related to the same suspect, Timmerman, who lives in Southwest Rochester. Police searched his residence and seized several electronic devices. According to the court documents, Timmerman said he uses social media, but denied chatting with anyone on his phone. Timmerman allegedly told police they could look at his personal phone, but not his work phone. Damn. And that's Walmart. That's fucking wild. According to court documents, okay, but not his work phone. November of 2024, Rochester police searched Timmerman's personal phone and 2 work phones. One of the work phones had 44 Facebook accounts Timmerman appeared to have created are to impersonate minors. Wow. The other work phone allegedly had 5 Facebook and Instagram accounts Timmerman created to impersonate minors. If a child blocked Timmerman on one account, he would send messages from another. Wow, this nigga was sick. And I'm done. Police claim that several of the accounts had been messaging minors, that he had 169 victims in the US, Canada, UK, Nigeria, and other countries. Timmerman allegedly solicited many of the victims to produce CSAM, and when many others did, he would threaten to send the video and photos to their friends, families, sports teams, and others. Wow, this nigga was sick. Some of the victims would beg Timmerman not to send their photos to people and would threaten to end their life. Timmerman would continue to threaten the victims with disseminating their photos, court documents read, through chats. Timmerman extensively coerced his minor victims to engage in end-to-end encrypted live FaceTime call for sessions that lasted sometimes in excess of 20 minutes. during some of these calls, he would record our screenshot their images. That's one sick ass nigga. Wow. We referred to it as sextortion, says Sergeant Ben Schlage, leader of Rochester PD's Intelligent and Forensics Technology Unit, responsible for catching Timmerman. It's very, very difficult for victims to come forward due to embarrassment or shame or fear. Timmerman's case mirrors that of Valentin Quinta, a Winona man sentenced to 27 years to coercing children into producing porn. Damn. According to court documents, Timmer allegedly had at least one victim in Olmsted County, a juvenile male who sent photos and video of himself to what he thought was a juvenile girl. About a month later, he received about 100 messages that would say, "Hello, remember me?" Timmerman would then send victim one the photos and video he previously took of himself. Timmerman threatened to send the photos of victim one's ex-girlfriend, court documents read. Wow, that's a sick ass nigga. And then we got people living in our community like that. That's wild. And niggas worried about a blackout. You need to be worried about this shit. This is what I don't get. Is why are we protesting that we allow people like this in our communities and we don't ever want to say nothing because we only want to be worried about the people that are convicted or that y'all know about that are on some registry, but not about the people that are actually out here doing this shit, right? And that's what I don't understand. And, you know, in July of 2024, let's continue. Timmerman allegedly contacted 14 victims between ages 13 and 17, many of which he coerced into sexual activity and conversations on camera by threatening to send pictures and videos to friends and family. In August 2024, he allegedly had 88 victims between ages 10 and 17, police allege. In September of 2024, there were 18 victims ages 12 to 17. In October, 21 victims ages 12 to 17. In November, there were allegedly 17 victims ages 9 to 17. Court documents allege that Timmerman had coerced juveniles into creating sexual content as early as December of 2021. Damn. Court documents further allege that there are around 300 more social media chats which appeared coercive or threatening in nature. But because messages disappeared after the other party blocked Timmerman, police could not determine whether their contents were illegal. Police also located 95 files of child pornography on one of Timmerman's work phones and 11 files on his other work phone, according to court documents. Damn. Experts with the state's BCA say it's the ease of internet access for many young people that makes it so easy for them to be victimized. Damn, that's crazy. But to be honest, that's a lot of victims that people weren't doing nothing. I mean, to me, that's wild. I will never understand that because, I mean, yeah.
We begin this evening with breaking news out of Rochester as police just made an arrest in the department's largest ever cyber investigation. And it all surrounds this man, 43-year-old John Timmerman. He's facing multiple felony charges, including soliciting a child for sex and using a minor to make porn. RPD says through its investigation, police found Timmerman has more than, get this, 150 victims in multiple states and countries.
Wow. So yeah, we have people like that in our community that people obviously don't care about. They're not watching. They're not doing nothing in their slightest ass mind, but then going to work and doing them. And I will never understand that, right? So there was a lot of people that were, oh, that's my trainer at Walmart. That's my trainer at. It's like, whoa, wait, what? What we doing? What? Like, come on now, people. I don't even get that shit. We're gonna call these people out, or we just gonna sit there and look stupid and dumb and be like, well, he couldn't have did that. Well, thank God they locked him up. What about 169 victims? 169 victims. That's crazy. That's wild. That's wild. Like, I don't even get that. Like, come on, people. We definitely way better than that. Okay, so I do got something from the high school. So that's who all it was. You go Mike. I think that's Mike. Actually, that might be Yaya. It might be Amber's boyfriend. A beautiful display of call of action on the active, deeply embedded racism in our community. Red Wing High School students, some teachers, and some of the community members stood together to celebrate and support Black History Month and Black lives as a whole. Together we stand united to be one. Just to be clear, Steph can't go unless their entire class goes. So, yeah. What's shit going on in Red Wing? I don't know if they'll be. So this is about Keith Ellison. Yeah, I want to read the comments. There's 28 of them. So if they're not expecting a protest to be disruptive, I don't know what protests are. Protests are supposed to be disruptive. That's the point, because you can't make a statement without making a scene. Protests are peaceful. Riots are disruptive. Big difference. Protest is asking for change. Riots is when voices are being ignored. I don't agree with that one. But, people do different. Can you elaborate more on that? The school did the right thing, somebody said. Brian Washwater. I don't care about what people's opinions are. We all have a different opinion. Brian said to Lindsay, she asked him to elaborate more. As we shared earlier, we decided to cancel a visit from our state attorney general, Keith Ellison, due to concerns that learning could be disrupted by the event. We are aware that a student walkout is being planned at the high school today in protest of our decision. Right. But what I'm saying, they could be disruptions. My kiddo said this guy received death threats or something. I'm sure that's a rumor, but still. I doubt death threats. Those would be highly illegal and enforced against the AG. I said, Brian, they can't keep doing this. This is the third time they have canceled on a Black speaker. Ellison hasn't been the only one. I wasn't aware of this. Why are they canceling Black speakers? That's my question. What exactly are they canceling on this numerous times? Who else have they canceled, and when did it happen? I'm curious to know. So I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to answer on this too. Rashad Turner. And I know that is because I learned that from the superintendent of Red Wing Public Schools, and it was Rashad Turner. And the only reason why they backed out of it was because people had made complaints about when he was a part of the Mall of America protest. You can go back, and I don't know if there will be people at the school that will talk about it or not, but Rashad, when he was a head of Black Lives Matter St. Paul, was asked to come speak to the kids, come speak to the school, and they canceled out. John Thompson has been up there numerous times to speak during Black History Month. So I don't know what the difference is, because John Thompson actually came up there and spoke during Black History Month. So I don't know what the difference is between Keith Ellison, and maybe it's because, he is the attorney right now when it comes to doing all this trans and all these lawsuits. So, I highly doubt death threats. I highly doubt death threats. But I mean, hey, I'm not, they can say whatever they want. Worth an unexcused absence, in my opinion. Sounds like they handled it pretty well. Seems to be enough students upset with the guest speaker coming. The school listened and made a change the students wanted before they had to miss out on classes. Interesting. That's an interesting take. So Sue, I don't know what she posted. Protest is a political speech about what protest is. Everybody, I'm not against anybody protesting. Who was it that actually threatened him anyway? We all live in this world together, all races. So why stop one of us from speaking to those who don't want to listen? Remember, if the students want to be respectful while protesting, then adults should respect as well for those interested. Come on, people. Let's come to reasonable actions. Oh, I agree. Even though, this is the thing. I don't like Keith Ellison at all. I think he's a piece of shit. But not because they canceled out. Honestly, I don't care because of, what has he done for Philip Vance, or what is he doing for Timothy Magruder? And I don't really care about him coming to not speak at a high school when we have people that are suffering in our community, and they're innocent, and he could set them free, but he doesn't do that. So why should I be mad or upset because you're supposedly received a few death threats? Yeah, I don't get that. You can hear that. Crazy. But I still don't understand it. So, and maybe sometime I will, but I don't, because it's like when Black Lives really mattered, they matter right now. A lot of people in Red Wing didn't want to pay attention. We're going through this because nobody took Wigger Days serious. Nobody took it serious. We all took it that it was a joke. And in my eyes, it's like, oh, it's not. It's not anything that we should take as a joke. It's not anything that we should be playing about, but yet this is what we go through. This is what we go through. Now, I want to get into a little bit of feeding our future. And they're going really hard at Amy Bach right now, and as they should. So I want to get into the part, and this came out during the trial yesterday. So listen to about Amy Bach.
And now to the trial of the alleged ringleader of the Feeding Our Future scandal. A lot of developments in the courtroom today.
Fox 9's Rob Olson joins us now. He's been following this every step of the way. So Rob, witnesses today claiming there is no question whether Amy Bach knew about the fraud.
Yeah, very direct testimony really tying Amy Bach to this alleged fraud here. Now, if some of this testimony that we're telling you about every day sounds repetitive, it's because it is. There's just more witnesses sort of telling the same stories, and that's part of the government here. Their case or strategy is to hear about it not just from a couple of people, but from everybody that they can bring in. In this case, another bartender who was a supposed Feeding Our Future board member, and another meal site operator who pled guilty, and he directly tied how to cheat and to give her money back.
Mohammed Hussein is yet another witness who pled guilty to Feeding Our Future fraud, working with his wife Lula Lee, who testified 2 weeks ago at her restaurant in Faribault and said Feeding Our Future employees came there to recruit them. Testified those employees put Amy Bach on a FaceTime call. Testified it was Amy Bach who instructed them to lie. She was saying if you're doing 1,000 meals every day, you're going to get more money. You're going to get big check. Asked if they ever did, not even close. No, he answered. We never feed 1,000 kids a meal. ever. Hussein later added his own Faribault nonprofit to the program and said they got checks from Feeding Our Future for $200,000 to $250,000 a month. When those checks were delivered each month, a Feeding Our Future employee would again put Bach on a FaceTime call so she could see a $30,000 cash kickback that Hussein says she demanded. Bach's attorney says the government cannot prove that those alleged FaceTime calls with Amy Bach ever happened. Apple and the phone companies don't keep FaceTime call records. Also on the stand, another St. Paul bartender who knew Bach socially and was also listed as a Feeding Our Future board member, but testified that he really wasn't. John Senkler said, she told me she just needed names to start the organization and was going to dissolve the board once it got going. He was shown minutes of meetings he didn't attend or even know about. One said he made a motion about a management plan review update. Asked if he made that motion, he replied, "I don't even know what a motion is." But no.
Now, back to Mohammed Hussein again here for a second. He testified under cross-examination that he'd only talked to Amy Bach in person one time, that he never talked to her on the phone, never exchanged any email with her. It was just these alleged FaceTime calls, which again, the defense attorney says the government cannot prove actually occurred. Now, there's no court on Friday, so this will pick up again Monday, and the prosecution expects to rest their case sometime likely next week. Live in Minneapolis, Rob Olson, Fox 9.
All right. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. So I got asked a question, and I want to get into that for a minute, right? So I got asked a question about Copel in Rochester. So we're going to do a little bit. I'm going to take y'all on something real quick. We're going to look at their 990 forms, right? We're going to do something today, man. We're going to do a little bit of digging, right? So I'm going to show everybody on live how you do this, right? So Copel, Rochester, Minnesota, 990. And let's see what they are about. They have an organization. You got something to do with ICE. Oh, they also do in Minnesota too, Minneapolis. They got a big ass East Lake Street. So Copel opens office in Rochester. This is Copel's third office in Minnesota, expected. Spaces in Minneapolis. Okay. Need y'all 990 for okay. Oh, whoops. I should have. Dun. I don't know. They don't have much shit about that. Let's see. It's about Latinos. It's their website. I'll take you on there. Can we help? Focus areas, advocacy, resources. About advocacy, legislative agenda, focus areas, press room. I don't need that. Become a member. Events. No, I don't care about that either. What can I put to get their 990 forms? Let's see. Copel. I don't know if it'll go by though. All right. I don't know why they don't come up like that. I'm gonna have to do, maybe I'll just do it on my phone. It might be easier. Let me see. Copal. Because I want y'all to see this shit. So why did that one come up? So this, where's that 2023 in there? That's 2021. No, that's 2021. Oh, I got it. Project ProPublica. Email tag to myself. Then y'all about to see. So we're going to dig through this shit. We're going to dig through it together. Let's see. I need that. I need that. Sell out. There it goes. Let's see. Copo. Let's say this right. So they're a nonprofit. Their revenue was 2.46. This is all the money they've had since 2019, right? So 166, 1.28, 1.77, 2.46, 222. So expenses. That much they spent there. A lot of it's liabilities, assets. Yeah, this shit crazy. So let's view the filing. Net income. That's crazy. Negative. So this is their filing. Copal Education Fund, East Lake Street. They got a whole building. To unite Latinas in Minnesota in active grassroots communal democracy that builds racial, gender, social, and economic justice across community lines. Let's see. Boom. Francisco, Carolina. They made all right. They make pretty good money. Let's look at Peggy, Jessica, Edwin, and Amanda. So Carolina and Francisco are the big ones. Let's see. What organizations do they give to it? So here we go. Look at their total revenue. Compensation. So current officers, directors, trustees, and key employees. Employee benefits, payroll taxes. Other line, if it exceeds 358. Occupancy, they spent 54,000. See, this is the whole part that and it breaks it down. This is why a lot of this shit needs to be looked at, right, and audited, because a lot of it doesn't really need to be itemized. And that's the one thing that really bothers me. And I'm going to show you the whole process that I've done with AI. Yeah, look at that shit. Beginning of the year, end of the year. And grants, see what they received from. I know I'll be looking at this shit and be knowing, like, damn. So since 2019, they've gathered over $7 million. What's changed? I don't feel like the Latin community's gotten better. Damn, that's long. That's 1 million. Maybe they see there's no item. They don't even got to do all this shit itemized. That's the part that I don't be liking these. Community. See, this is the primary activity. This, to me, in my eyes, this is so fucking, like, they don't even put all the shit. They do what the bare necessity. It's an educational fund and it's a 501c4. And it's like, I don't get that shit. So bad. They don't even got they ain't even no itemized list of what they did with the fucking money. That's crazy. See, that's why I get frustrated. Because when you look at shit like this and then you see it, right? Like, wait, that don't make no sense. I want to go to the part. All right. So I want to copy and paste all this. Right up until there. Paste, copy. I'm gonna show you what I do. So this is what we do. I'm gonna take y'all to ChatGPT. So put that in there. Share the tab. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. There's C4. It's political, right? So if you look at, there was a bill that went on, right? HF 72 was to, and I emailed about this as well, and I'll get into that. But so what I copied and pasted all their financials, right? Their pensions and all their financial numbers, right? Because I'm not no lawyer, I'm not no attorney, I'm not no accountant. I don't understand a lot of this shit. So I break it. I have it break it down to me. But look what they gave to their employees last year, or 2023, whatever it was. 1.3. Benefits, 1.61. Other services, consulting, contract work, legal, accounting, and fundraising fees are not separately listed. So $358,000 operating costs, $22,000 for advertising and promotion, office expenses, $43,000, information technology, $27,000, occupancy. Now, this is the part that I've really gotten good at right here is these two with occupancy and travel. So they spent $79,000 on travel. Now, travel can be pretty much anything because they can spend it on transportation. They can spend it on so many other things, right? So all these insurance, grantee expenses, grants and assistance, telephone and internet, minor equipment and maintenance, miscellaneous. What's miscellaneous? There's no itemized shit that comes down to it, right? And it's crazy. So I'm gonna ask you, can you explain these? Let me see. Would be a good one. Like, well, where is? I'm trying to figure out. Ask it a good question. The waste. See, so employee executive compensation, the high salaries. So this, if everybody did this, right? Even the travel. Is it this necessary to travel, or could it have been done remotely? Right? If the organization is spending on, there's a lot of things on here, right? Nobody ever wants to look at this shit. Do you really need to pay your high employees that type of money? Right? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Now you can sit there and you can use chat to break this shit down and to point out the waste. because it's not itemized. Even with their advertising and promotion, their office expenses. I don't, how they spend, I don't understand that. Maybe they did spend that amount, but it really blows my mind of the money that is spent on organizations. So where is the most waste? Executive compensation, professional services, travel expenses, IT and office costs, disappropriated spending, right? Admission and salaries. If more money goes to administration and salaries than the actual mission. So there's a lot of shit. There was 10, let me see. What was there? Insurance, minor equipment. There's a lot of things that we could sit here and look at, even when it comes down to the Minneapolis Foundation. But there's things people don't want to look at. They don't want to look at the bigger picture when it comes to, I'm going to do another one that has the former mayor of Minneapolis, right? Minneapolis Foundation. Because I'm still trying to figure out that a Republicans website, and I'm not having a good enough time with that yet so far. But maybe I'll fuck around with it today and be able to do the things that I want to. So here goes the Minneapolis Foundation. Revenue, $115 million. That's a lot of fucking money they've gotten over there. How would it want to change shit? 204, 201. That's insane. Their assets, over $1 billion. Wow. So this is the Minneapolis Foundation, one of the biggest nonprofits foundations in Minneapolis, right? Let's go down. Ooh, everybody get paid. RT Ryback. Let's go who their board is. That's 18. Are they all on here? Oh, yep, they are. Yep. So let's go to their board of, you have Margie, you have John Tapp, Scott Erickson, Kathleen McAllen, Khalifa Ali, Julie Baker, Purvi Bhatt. Going too fast. I can go to the dang. Skipping over some. I feel like, what's going on with my mouse? Jeez, that's a lot of people. Oh, Lord. Start laughing here, man. So Margie. Okay, why aren't you want to work right, motherfucker? See if I can get this to work right. I'm going the wrong way. Lord, Lord, it's not acting right. So Khalifa, Julie, Purvi, Maurice, Kelsey, Colette, Tom, Bill, Mary. Mary Grove, I believe, is Steve Grove's wife. And he's at Star Tribune. So Richard Howell, we all know who that is. That's Bishop Howell. Tanya Hampton, Julie Helper, Emily Lamberty. So then you already know why some of these people get the money that they do. You have a Michael Rodriguez, a Meg Rodriguez, Raj, we all know who Raj is, RT Ryback, look at that. Greg Wentz, Shonda Baker, Christopher Beach, William Strandberg, Milfa, Michelle Benson. Michelle Benson work over there too? That's crazy. Patrice, Jan. These people make bank. Over $2 million, right? And that's crazy. Over $94 million. Administration, crazy. $17 million in investments. So if you brought this in and showed how much, I'm going to show you something. So same thing that I did for the other one, the other organization. I'm going to go and do the same shit that I was doing for and break it down, all their spending, and see where's the waste. Damn, that's a lot of money. Damn. Ooh, they got a lot of money. That's crazy. They have a lot of bank. We over here begging for crumbs, and these dudes be having millions. That's what I don't understand. It's like, how do we not have some of the money that these people have? Because it's crazy. Oh Lord. My mouse acting weird now. Probably because I'm doing this shit. Oh man. Okay. So I'm gonna punch this in and have it explain the waste to me. All right, ChatGPT. Paste. Share. What did I put? What did I ask for? I want to ask it the same, basically the same thing. Where is the waste? Oh, there's Ashley's chat. Look at that. So you got high grants to foreign entities versus domestic needs. 767,000 went to foreign organizations and individuals. High investment management fees, other services. This is a huge category under fees for services, non-employees at 9.48 million. It's unclear what this includes. If it exceeds 10% of total expenses, it requires additional disclosure. This could be a red flag for unnecessary consulting, outsourced services, or vague expenses. So people need to look. You got high legal fees, advertising and promotion, travel, conference and meetings. This is a high expense, a huge for meetings. Are these necessary? Wow. These people, man, that's crazy. Printing, 237,000. License, staff development, and we're already talking about DEI shit. Bottom line. So investment fees could be renegotiated. Other services needs transparency. Conferences and meetings are all these necessary. Travels, could some be cut? Is it effective? Right. So you see that $232,000 on effective training. This is an organization that gets millions, if not billions of dollars, that has billions of dollars. And I don't understand why people don't look at this. Look at their financial watch, right? This is just last or 2023 revenue, 115 million. Contributions, 94 million. Program services, almost another million. Investment income. Come on, man. And these people beg for money. Almost $6 million in salaries. Right. Executive compensation, other salaries and wages, almost $5 million. It's crazy. The biggest maker, Shonda, RT Ryback, who is the former mayor of Minneapolis. Don't get it twisted. So I'll never understand 204 million. That's crazy. And yet you have communities begging to be seen, begging for help, and yet we don't help them. I will never understand it. So that's wild. That is wild as hell. But yet we don't do nothing about it. We're gonna listen to this for a little bit about this. The sheriff gives updates on illegal immigration.
Because as I mentioned, when this comes online and we get all 67 jails that are honoring those detainers, and some big ones that aren't doing it now because they can't, like Miami-Dade and Orange and Hillsborough, they're big, is that they're going to get flooded. So we need to do all we can to help them with the beds, but they also, as Sheriff Judd said, they need to help themselves too, and they got to figure this out. And it's tough, but that cannot stand in the way, because we can't let people like this back out on the street. They need to go. And and it does take a little bit of time, and they are rapidly removing some of these. The ones that already have what they call them warrants of deportation, and the ones that already have orders, they're getting them out in a couple days. Some of them take a little bit longer, so it's a process. But we're going to do everything we can. I can assure you, the sheriffs of Florida have talked about this extensively, and there isn't a sheriff in the state that isn't committed to making sure that people like this don't get out on the street and wreak havoc in the communities, and that we meet the expectation of our constituents, our citizens, and as we keep them safe.
And make no mistake about it, there's not capacity in the Florida sheriffs or the county jails of this state to make any negligible difference. We've got to have the federal government create capacity. I think the last week I had 30 beds. The sheriff, I think he's got them sleeping on the floor. Yeah. Some sheriffs have a few beds, but we don't have capacity. So don't let us leave the illusion with you that we can handle all of these people, because we will overwhelm this system very rapidly. And we intend to work very aggressively, but that's why we're here making this statement today. And the federal government knows this. They have to create capacity. We can bring them all the business they can handle and more.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in Pinellas County Jail, we have 3,000 inmates in the jail, and that's 200 on the floor. There's no room at the inn. Now, we'll do what we can and hold these people on the detainers, but we don't have any mass capacities. We're going to look and see if there's any room, but we are not the big solution to the housing problem.
On the street task force that you were talking about, one of you was talking about really having powers of ice. So you mentioned during normal duties. So sheriff's officers will not be doing anything beyond normal duties in terms of going out and trying to find people who might be illegal?
So that's yet to be determined exactly how all that's going to play out. But if we know that there are people out here like these guys, is that it's the right thing to do. And I would imagine that under the right circumstances we're going to go get these people if they're not in jail and they're out on the street. But again, there's more to come on that. I think you'll get more information on that in the near future. Right now, what we're focused on right now is plugging the hole. And the hole is having 26 of Florida's 67 county jails that are not honoring those detainers, where people like these are going out the back door after they come in the front door. And no, that's got to stop. That's got to stop today. And that's why we're pushing this hard. And that's why we worked hard to get all these agreements signed. And the Trump administration and ICE is working hard with us. We're going to get this training.
That's crazy though. And it's, to be honestly, like, is any place in America that we have beds for these, illegal immigration? And honestly, I don't believe we do. It's something that we need to definitely get away from, and our build other facilities, are facilities that we don't use them. So we can, that's what I don't understand, right? And I do see his post. So this is Philip Parrish reports, in Minnesota alleged Copel has been actively obstructing ICE activities and potentially putting law enforcement at risk. So this is the little newsletter they had that they did. Everybody knows that when they arrested the two people from Nupa, that people started to protest, wanted to make their voices heard, to make their shit, I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. They just wanted to be different. That's not that word. That's not how it went down. That's not it's not how it turned out. Yeah, because I don't understand a lot of this shit. And do I want to? Definitely, hell yeah, I want to understand it. I want to I want to be involved is because at the end of the day, I feel like my voice can make a difference. My voice can make an impact, change in America. But too many people see my past. They see the color of my skin. They point out my downfalls, my flaws, rather than uplifting me and making me feel like I'm part of the team. And hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But again, like I said, I want everybody to have a great day. It's Friday. Get in how you feel. And with that being said, man, win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well, and what would you do by the Urban Conservative? And I will see y'all Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. I'm messing up today. I don't know why.
Left on the clock. Ain't no sleep, no rest. I'm out here. I'm live. Look at the streets. The jungle's alive. Every block's a battlefield where the strong survive. Where the strong mind heavy, thoughts dark. I'm strapped with ambition. No space for second guessing. I'm on a mission. Minnesota got the air thick. Tension so eyes on me. Every corner I creep. Windows roll down, but the steel is tucked. Felonies on my brain, homie. It's that life or luck. Who gon' ride with me? Who gon' stand tall? These snakes out here, man, they prey on our fall. I pull up slow. Engine humming, real chrome glistening, got that gangster gleam. I see an activist flexing for the talking change, but ain't seen what I see. He don't know this life, all he got is talk. I'm from the struggle, every step a heavy walk. Snatch his dreams, snatch his hope, take it all, watch his world crumble. As I rise and he falls, best strap tight like a second skin. No forgiveness, dog, I'm playing to win.
Sounds good, sounds good, sounds good, sounds good.
What you gon' hear about my pain? Best believe you will. What you do, man? What you do, my name? What? The grinding, pain deep in my soul. I ain't legal, I take full control. Haters in my sideline, they gon' feel the